Hi everyone. Hi, so today we are going to talk about Scorpio. We are continuing from Sagittarius to Scorpio in this series. This is the series of alternative archetypical interpretation of energy of each zodiac sign. And in this series, I am taking Pisces as the beginning of the cycle instead of Aries. And I described that in the Pisces video if you want to go back and check why it is that. Um, so we're going to talk about today about Scorpio, which is like I was so excited to do this because there is so much stuff here that needs to be spoken out. So what I was saying about Scorpio is like after Sagittarius. So where we ended in Sagittarius. In Sagittarius video, we have seen that Sagittarius, is kind of continuation of Capricorn, and Sagittarius want to bring because Capricorn is obsessed with limitation, like because we talked about that in a Sagittarius video. So Sagittarius is coming out of that scarcity, and Sagittarius want to solve things. Well, how they are solving things by uniting minds, by getting by understanding natural law, by um, getting into this knowledge of crown chakra and trying to find answer that in a material form, in a Capricornic way, we cannot solve. Like we cannot solve. We cannot control nature. We cannot control death. We cannot control decay. We cannot control diseases and all these other things. Yes, we can come up with medicine, but we cannot really uh, completely eliminate this. So Sagittarius wanted to get the information from the higher perspective, from the that's why Sagittarius is so good with knowledge, higher studies, all this kind of priest, all this kind of higher knowledge. Anyway, so Sagittarius, that's why ruled by Jupiter, which is like the king of the pantheon god, and it's all about good, all about goodness, all about optimism, bright thinking, and all these other things, right? So, but Sagittarius, what Sagittarius cannot understand, but did not understand or doesn't understand, is that you cannot unite. Nobody can unite the entire world with one ideology. Is it possible? Look at our history, look at our present time. It's not possible. It's just simply not possible because we all have our own way of thinking. So it's yes, we can form groups, we can form in different religion, fall into different religion, but there is no way, at least not at the stage of evolution we are now, that we can form a unified, because Sagittarius, that's what Sagittarius wants to do. Sagittarius wants to bring people together by creating a common ideology, a common belief system, a common truth that is ultimate truth, and that truth will bind everybody together. That is what Sagittarius believes, but it doesn't work like that. So Sagittarius is a very idealistic, very optimistic and all that, but sometimes that optimism does not translate into the day-to-day life of our actual lived experiences. So what happened, Sagittarius, because Sagittarius focus on goodness so much that Sagittarius miss out the other part of the life, which is disagreement, which is like so-called good versus bad, and then other side of the coin. If Sagittarius is looking at the light, then other side of this is the shadow. It's not bad. It just that's what energy is. Everything exists in, like two different energy exist all the time, otherwise there will be no balance. So that's why Sagittarius always focus on the brighter side, lighter side, optimistic side, because it's ruled by Jupiter. It wants to bring the natural law, but in the natural understanding natural law, it means the conception of the darker side of the natural law. Darker means, when I say darker, it's not negative. It's just that different energy which is much more dense, which is much maybe not so comfortable for our being because we are not used to it. We're constantly repressing it or trying to avoid it. So what happens when Sagittarius, after Sagittarius, when the Scorpio comes, they look at a Scorpio, look at it, and Scorpio see that, okay, you are sitting on a high horse, you are saying that everybody, okay, I understand, I respect that you are coming with this good intention, but you are talking about something which is monolithic. But we cannot experience a monolithic experience until there is a huge amount of transformation, until there is a huge amount of understanding what human beings are all about, what nature is all about. Then otherwise, we are going to come up with differences. And if we don't know how to deal with differences, if you're constantly suppressing whatever you do not find within the paradigm of goodness, within the paradigm of lightness, within the paradigm of optimism, you are automatically rejecting it or suppressing it or calling it out or calling it off. That's not the way of life. So that's why Scorpio is a water sign, but it's ruled by Mars. It's ruled by Mars and Pluto. So that's why it has lot of energy to fight. It has lot of energy because Scorpio stands up for underdogs. Because Scorpio is the ruler of underworld. And it understand the significance of darkness, significance of unseen, significance of hidden thing, because those are not bad energy. Because no energy is bad and good. I always believe that, and I'm always going to say this, because no energy is bad or good. It's about how we are training ourselves to perceive a certain energy, and then we advocate that energy in that group, and everybody start to, okay, this is a good energy. This is, we categorize the energy like, in a way, it's like a product in a departmental store, but that's not how energy works. Energy works in the flow of just being omnipresent. And if you feel it's a dark energy, if you're bad energy or this energy, that energy, that is to you, that is to in relation to only a particular person, to you or to me, whosoever is experiencing. It's a subjective view of energy. Energy cannot be identified in a standard definition of good and bad and this and that. Energy does not have this adjective association. We need to understand that. So Scorpio is a very evolved sign, because Scorpio is the king of underworld, and Scorpio ruled by Pluto. Pluto means, in Greek mythology, Pluto means richness and fullness. Scorpio has all the energy. Scorpio is very, 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 very strong. Is the highest form of Mars. It's a much more intense than even Mars in Aries. It is full with potential. It's full with it's just the ruler of subterranean world. Anyway, so Scorpio is coming from this angle. So from and like I said in Sagittarius video, Sagittarius had hard time to really, yeah, Sagittarius, people say, you can say, oh, but Sagittarius is mutable energy, so Sagittarius can change very easily. Yes, Sagittarius can change, but it's very hard for Sagittarius until and unless you really work with Sagittarius energy in a high vibration, in a very evolved Sagittarian energy, then you can change the fundamental. Sagittarius has hard time to change the fundamental belief. So let me give an example. Let's say, I believe in I believe in that everybody needs to be kind. Let's say, okay, let's say that's a Sagittarian energy. I'm channeling Sagittarian energy, and I believe in everybody needs to be kind, right? All right, I'm mutable sign, so I can change my way to, and I want, and Sagittarius very advocacy kind of sign. So Sagittarius want other people to agree with them. So let's say I believe in that. That's my ideology, and I want everybody to believe in that because that's the only way to bring peace. So my intention is the right place, and I'm going to say somebody, hey, you know what? If everybody needs to be kind, this and that, then I can change my methodology, I can change my approach, how to convince people to my ideology, to unify with one ideology based on the person, based on the geography of the location, and all these other factors that imply. But if somebody asks me to change my ideology altogether and say not everybody has to be kind, that would be very hard for Sagittarius to do. You understand where the, it is mutable, but it is also very because it's a Jupiterian, it's ruled by Jupiterian. Jupiterian is the king of gods, so it has a certain authority that it wants to employ on others. So it is very hard with Sagittarius. That's why Sagittarius is hard and fast. When Sagittarius make up their mind, you just make sure that you can be sure that that will be taken place, because they're very focused. Well, not they, I'm not talking about particular person with Sagittarius, I'm talking about Sagittarian energy, so the Sagittarian energy is very focused, when it is in balanced and when it is in truly in that element. So anyway, so that's what Sagittarius have problem with, which is the flexibility in their fundamental idea, not flexibility how to employ that idea in a different form or different way, but the fundamental idea itself. It's very hard for Sagittarius to shake that up until and unless the Sagittarius is really embodying true understanding of natural law, which is like constant change. And then Scorpio is like Scorpio is challenging Sagittarius. Scorpio is saying that, you know what, you cannot just preaching about goodness, because then what you are doing, you are not including a lot of energy, a lot of people, and lot of ideologies, lot of way of living, lot of way of existing, lot of natural law from this canon that you are trying to make. So it's like a direct opposition, Sagittarius, Scorpio coming in into this picture. And so it's like, and Scorpio is very, very strong. So okay, I'm just trying to find how I'm going to transition to this next element that I want to talk about, which is death. So why Scorpio, I think, okay, this is how I'm gonna do it. Okay, so why Scorpio is associated with death? Scorpio couldn't be associated with a death and transform, could be association with change, association with underdog, association with taboo. Yes, they are, but mostly Scorpio is associated with death and transformation. Why? So what happened? You have to think about the opposite of Scorpio, which is Taurus, right? We're going to get there later because Taurus is very, very evolved in that sense. So more when you don't allow in a society, in a civilization, when you don't allow darkness to exist. I'm going to emphasize this again because people don't understand that. Whenever they see dark or hear dark, it's like, ooh, bad stuff. No, it's the energy, and which is as important as light. Without night, there will be no day. Nothing will exist without opposition. So, when you suppress, when you as a culture, as a society, as a civilization, try to hide, try to suppress a huge chunk of energy under the name of darkness, under the name of whatever, however you say it, what you do, what you cultivate on the ground, which is like a Taurus, is something that is not sustainable. So more we focus on building a society which is repressing a half portion of energetical dynamics, no matter how we feel that our society progressing, is actually creating a barren land which is non-sustainable. And this is very ironical energy of Scorpio, because, and this is, a more we create on the surface, eliminating the dark energy, the darker part becomes more and more powerful. Let me explain what I'm trying to say. Let's say, look at our world. Look at our world. Let's say we are creating a city, and there is nothing to farm on. Everything is artificial, everything is plastic, nothing to, you cannot get fresh fruits, you cannot, we are completely eliminated from the essence of nature. That means what we're doing, we think that we are creating a future society. But we are actually, by not introducing life in it, because the moment we introduce so much so artificial energy, obviously we are not introducing life. Plastic is not life. So anytime we introduce this kind of artificial energies into our livelihood, day to day livelihood, so much so that we create actually death. Understand what I'm trying to say? Mm, so more we focus on this thing which is reductive of the wholeness, we think that we are advancing by eliminating, by avoiding darkness, and we're focusing on light. By only focusing on light, so-called light, or so-called progress, we are feeding into this energy of death. So more we create a natural lifestyle, the more strong Scorpio become. Look at our astrological planetary placement at this moment. We got into, Pluto in Aquarius, from Pluto in Capricorn, Pluto in Aquarius, and we're gonna be there for next 18 years. So that's like Pluto, we are, because right now society is now like we just gone out of proportion. The introduction of everything unnatural, nobody knows where they belong, like all the concept of actually getting back into the roots, we are eliminating it by introducing more and more artificial, virtual, robotic, this and that, all these things that does not align with the essence of life. And we think that we are, by doing that, we are suppressing all these things and we are moving forward into with life. But by not introducing life, we are focusing more on the death energy, and Scorpio is getting more and more and more and more powerful. Pluto is getting, Pluto feeds on death. Pluto, that's why Pluto is so powerful. Pluto is one of the most powerful planet in the whole galaxy. Why? Because Pluto feeds on death, and death is everywhere. More than life, death is everywhere. Life begins with death. Okay, that's a philosophy that we need to wrap our head around. Maybe another day we can talk about this in depth, because there is, I think about it all the time, and there's a lot of academics and content behind this thing. But anyway, so Scorpio is getting more and more and more and more powerful, right? So Scorpio is fighting with both. Scorpio is fighting with Capricorn, Scorpio is fighting with Sagittarius energy. How Scorpio is fighting with Capricornic energy? Capricornic energy, if you remember what I described in that video, Capricornic energy is, Capricorn is like, okay, I understand that I cannot fight nature. I understand that I have a lot of limitation. That's why I'm going to create a bubble of myself where I'm going to be king, where I'm going to control everything. So Capricorn ruled by fate, time, death, drive, and control. Okay, that's like a manipulation. Manipulation of the nature. And then the Sagittarius comes. Sagittarius say, okay, we cannot really manipulate nature because ultimately we are subjugated by nature. Okay, so let's understand nature. So Sagittarius goes in and try to bring all this information in the form of science, in the form of preaching, in the forms of religion, in the forms of whatever, in the form of, but what Sagittarius doesn't understand. Sagittarius only focus on the good stuff, and Sagittarius only focus on the optimism and this and that, but it does not look into the other side of the coin. Scorpio is like, man, I'm here, and you are constantly ignoring it in the name of progress, in the name of power, in the name of control, in the name of survival, whatever it is, but you are not seeing on the full picture. Scorpio is coming in. Scorpio is a full of power. Mars, ruled by Mars and Pluto, all this dark and death energy. Scorpio is like, I exist and I am gonna rule. And that's where Scorpio gets a little one-sided, because Scorpio, because it is like almost like a syndrome of abandoned child. It's like Scorpio understand all this ethereal understanding, all this philosophically and spiritually so evolved, but Scorpio has this like Scorpio like especially, if you don't work on Scorpio energy much, if you are on the beginning of the Scorpio energy, it's always about this. Oh, you don't notice me, you don't realize what my energy is all about. You want to shove me off in the cabinet, you want to put me under the carpet. There is a lot of. That's why people say Scorpio is revengeful. Scorpio is revengeful, not revengeful with their with one. Scorpio is actually sometimes can be their own enemy, because Scorpio, there's this, because it's a water sign, right? It has a lot of emotion to it, and it wants to people, it wants people, the whole world, to see the other side of the energy, which is as necessary as any other energy exists. Because Scorpio wants to bring balance. Scorpio really fight for fairness. But what happened, because it's an emotional energy, that emotion of neglect, it's very hard for Scorpio to move on from that. You need to work on Scorpio energy a lot in order to transform the Scorpion energy from scorpion, like animal scorpion, to snake, and then eagle, and then ultimately phoenix. It takes a lot of transformation for Scorpio to do on themselves. And but Scorpio is it's very caring, it's very warrior kind of energy, but it has this deep emotion of neglect that sometimes Scorpio cannot do not cannot or do not know how to deal with. So that's our one drawback of Scorpio. That's a major drawback of Scorpio energy. Anyway, so we are going to go back to what Scorpio is all about. So Scorpio want to introduce what is dying. What is dying? Scorpio want to introduce that. So what Scorpio want to do? Scorpio want to say, Scorpio wants to bring the concept of death. And what I mean by death is not about, Scorpio wants to, when Scorpio says that destroy everything, it's not saying actually literally destroy everything. Scorpio wants to say, man, what are you doing? What are you doing? Why are you chopping off all the trees? Why are you doing all this artificial agriculture? Why are you not even using why are you using all this kind of bottled water when there is a natural spring available? Why are you not using this natural source and kind of in a replenishing way? Why you're introducing not life force rather than anti-life force? When a Scorpio talks about this kind of thing, Scorpio doesn't want that whole world to be plugged by death energy, but that is what you are doing by not. Scorpio wants to communicate that, but people misunderstand Scorpio. Scorpio is so misunderstood sign because of this, because Scorpio talks to people in the form of death energy in order to prevent the death energy, because Scorpio come from death energy. So Scorpio show you, okay, you don't do it, look how it looks like when the death energy, when in the society plugged by death. So they want to show you the essence of death, and you feel like that's what Scorpio is. But the Scorpio is not essence of death. Scorpio showing you death by and that's their way to tell you that what are you creating by introducing non-living energy into our existence. It's like that's the way Scorpio communicate. Scorpio communicate because it's a very pure energy. They have to be themselves. And they are ruled by Pluto and Mars. So they are this essence of dark energy. So whenever they communicate, they be themselves. It's very intense, it's very dark for any people who doesn't understand that energy and try to shove it up under the carpet. So that's what but Scorpio not, you understand it. Scorpio aim is not to bring death. Scorpio's aim is to understand death, accept death, so that we can bring life into our existence. That's what Scorpio wants. And that's what not only just want, that's what Scorpio does all the time. But we don't understand Scorpio, so that's how Scorpio gets bad rap. Anyway, so Scorpio wants to understand, make people understand and make themselves understand what is dying. Scorpio, if Scorpio energy goes through more transformation that they can any other sign. So death is as a very basic fundamental thing for them. So what is dying? So what is dying, they want to communicate that once you accept death, what is death? Fear. Once you accept fear, once you accept what is on the other side of the light, what is other side of your seeing vision, what is in the shadow, anything that is you are seeing an opposite of that, because it's a yin and yang, right? So there is always needs to be in balance. So whatever that is that you don't want to see or cannot see, don't want to see, or not permitted to see, or whatever the condition is, when you see that, when you accept that, by accepting death energy, you are free from this death energy. That's what transformation is. Transformation is not about avoiding things and transfer into a higher thing. Transformation is all about acceptance and see things for what it is, without the projection of fear that you are projecting onto that energy, because energy is neutral. It becomes positive and negative in relation to our fear or love. That's the two energy that we deal with. That's it. Fear and love. Everything else is gray area. That's the direct fear and love. So whichever energy we are dealing with, we are whichever light we are putting on that energy, the energy becomes that. So Scorpio energy is saying that accept death so that you can get free from death. Then you can get into love. You cannot get into love if you're still boggled by the energy of fear. And fear is death. Death is like, okay, I'm gonna destroy. It's like a Shiva energy, creation and destroy. Destroy is a part of creation. So Scorpio wants to destroy because because that's too much of non-living energy creating death. So Scorpio want to destroy this non-living energy so that we can create more life, and life equals to love. No life generates without love energy. Love is the highest form of energy which can create. That's why there is I want to do a video on creativity. That's a whole thing coming up for you guys. Seriously, I'm so excited to do this whole creative workshop, and it's like, oh my god, I have been doing it and it's really really effective. I'm going to bring it that later, but let's go through this series first, because this is very important to understand energy before we get into this full-fledged work on energy, how to embody energy and work with them. But anyway, so that's what Scorpio is doing. All right, so okay, let's say we are okay. So how Scorpio, the shortcomings of Scorpio. So I'm gonna go back a little bit of why Aquarius and Scorpio are said to be the most karmic sign. The Aquarius karmic sign, because Aquarius is very intelligent. Aquarius wants to bring life into our existence, but Aquarius doesn't understand or forgets, if they don't work on this energy constantly, that how nature works. So that's why it's very karmic, because it takes Aquarius a lot of cycle of birth in order to really understand how to combine mind, Aquarius, with the life force, Leo. That's why Aquarius mostly karmic. Aquarius energy, they born multiple times in a multiple generation, in order to really acquire that balance, how to combine the cosmic openness of ideas into the natural life force that earth promotes and earth germinates. That's why Aquarius is one of the very like a karmic sign, and Scorpio is another karmic sign, because Scorpio, what Scorpio does, because I say that Scorpio is very emotional, and it comes with this emotion of neglect, and that turns into anger, that turns into rage, and that turns into destroy. So Scorpio, because it gets so neglected, the energy, then it becomes so fanatic. It's like almost like Sagittarius. It's kind of funny that how Scorpio energy works. It fights with Sagittarius for inclusion, but then Scorpio punish people who is not ready to see the darkness. Scorpio has a very lack of patience when it comes to people who only want to see the light and doesn't want to acknowledge any other energy. They get very very rageful to that. because that's not the whole existence, right? So it's rightful anger, but same with Sagittarius. It doesn't want to see the darkness. And even if it see it, it wants to go for the this and can't really don't accept that. And Scorpio is like, no, you have to, you or everybody has to understand that what is buried under the ground. Everybody needs to know the energy of underworld. They make this rule, because Scorpio wants to be the ruler. Pluto wants to be the king, because Pluto is the king of underworld, and Pluto wants to be the king of everworld as well, which is Jupiter is the king of everworld. So it's the really fierce fighting between Sagittarian energy, Jupiterian energy, natural law, versus underworld energy, which is like unseen power. But in Scorpio becomes very lethal to people, because it's only says, it's only on to accept people who understand the darker energy. But if you don't understand energy, and if you are stubborn like Sagittarius, not to accept this, Scorpio energy will cut your throat, cut your head, beheaded. And that's why so much death. Mythologically, Scorpio is like, there is like a whole bunch of a death and like a carnage happened, in association to Scorpionic energy. That's why people are so afraid of Scorpionic energy, because Scorpio doesn't take imperfection. But by not taking imperfection, they are becoming imperfect, because they need to understand, like, they need to understand that it's not just one or other. So they become in the vicious cycle, vicious fight between evil and good, so called in a black and white term. Evil and good is yeah, Sagittarian energy, and evil is the Scorpionic energy. So Sagittarian saying that, okay, there's like on Jupiterian knowledge is the ultimate way to pursue I don't know, enlightenment. And Scorpio energy is saying, no, that's not true. It's through occult, it's through dark energy, it's through magic we find the understanding of the true nature of existence. Both are right, but they need to come together, because no, nothing, not neither of this energy can survive on its own by itself. There is that's the thing that they are fighting, and that's like a vicious cycle going on for ages and decades, since the beginning of the time. Is the fight between Jupiter and Pluto, fight between everworld and underworld. That's why what comes next, Libra. That's why it's ruled by scale. That's why it's not ruled by its object, representation through an object. That's why Libra is the only sign which is represented by an object, not by any kind of life force. Because Libra has to be so objective, because the Libra is the balance, because that's where the life begins. Everything in the world exists in balance, you know everything. So Sagittarius is wants to go for this, expansion, and this and that, live on the mountain and get all this information like a herd life, in the ancient time. And it's like a flock of sheep and that kind of hard life. And Scorpio is like okay, agricultural life, because Taurus is opposite. Okay, we are going to do these things, we are going to understand nature, and we are not just going to think about the good stuff, we are going to think about bad stuff. But then they focus more on the, not again, the good bad things, and it's not really good bad dynamics, it's just the good and evil. That's the dichotomy. And evil is not bad. It just, I don't know why I don't like this word evil at all. It's just the opposition of energy, and Scorpio lingers on this dark energy. So it's like, no, we need to that's the way they need to come together. They need to come together. Mind cannot survive without the understanding body and spirit, and the spirit cannot survive without the understanding mind and body. It's like that. That's what Libra is all about. That's why Libra is the one of the most important sign in the whole zodiac. Without Libra, I mean, every sign, yeah, the wheel, if you take one element, one sign of the wheel will fall apart. But Libra is like, really, that's what the balance is actually happening. Mm, and nothing in this world exists without balance. The moment you feel chaos in your life, that means something is going out of the balance. And when I say balance, it doesn't mean that it have to be always like this. It can be this and this. Let's say it can be this and this, but if you can stay in balance, that's where your balance is. It's like a swimming, when you go into the ocean and when you're going into the water, you always everybody has their default floating measurement. Somebody can float vertically and up to this, somebody can float vertically up to this. It's like, where is your line? It doesn't have to be, there is no standard line. Most of the time, I'm going to talk more on this when I'm going to talk about Libra, but I'm going to touch base on this little part. People always think balance means always this. Oh, I'm feeling anxiety. Okay, no, back, come back. Okay, I'm feeling this. Oh, I'm feeling fear. No, come back. No, it doesn't have to. You have to experience everything. If it is this and this, even then that can be balanced. Like in I went to I travel a lot, like I went to this Indo-China border long time back, and there is like in the border it's like lot of nomadic people. Most of them are Buddhist, most of them do not have any religion, but most of them are nomadic people. And what they do then, they I think many people, many of you know about this. It's like a Buddhist stone balancing thing. Have you seen those stones? Sometimes they, like they will do, I spend a lot of time with these nomadic people. They lives in the gypsy, they lives in the big tent with lot of people, with their entire family, and they have yaks and all these things. And so I was spending time with them, and they would make this kind of balancing thing with the stones. And sometimes it feels like not at all balanced. It's not like big and then go small, not like that. Sometimes this big small, all this random pattern, but they are in balance, perfect balance, holding it together and just suspended in the air. That's what balance is. Balance is not about just, oh, I always have to be this, I cannot do this, I cannot do this. That's a mechanical, that's a ultimatum of imbalance. So it doesn't matter where you are, as long as you can feel the, okay, you are not gonna fall, and you can, then you can work with your balance anyway. So that's what Libra is. So that's what Scorpio energy is all about. It's a fighting with this good and evil dichotomy, vicious cycle, because Scorpio gets very that's why it's a fixed energy, because it really doesn't, it wants to do good, the intention is good, but it's like the same with Sagittarius. That's why many people you will see in celebrity, Sagittarius Scorpio come back together as a pair, because they just want to fight all day, all their life they're going to be fighting who is right. Mm. And it actually makes good pair. It's like a no boredom. Both of them are extremely stubborn energy, and they have no flexibility, even though Sagittarius mutable energy, but Sagittarius, like I explained, they are not flexible when it comes to changing their fundamental idea. And Scorpio is very very wise and all this other thing, kind and understanding and supportive and everything, but when it's come to emotion, they're like fixed energy. And it's like, okay, um, they want to reimpose or reintroduce the dark energy so much that they don't know how to incorporate sometimes the lighter Jupiterian energy um, to their death embodied energy, and that's create imbalance. That's why Libra comes. That's why Libra, everything is like a everything has a role, and it's not just separated, they are all interlinked. Anyway, so now my next segment is like how we can use Scorpionic energy. in our day-to-day life. Oh, like anytime we feel that life is getting too mechanical, if it doesn't feel like you are enforcing life, the energy of living, the living, and not just energy of death, that's where the Scorpio comes in. Every time you feel go through, every time we go through a transformation, a total eruption of normalcy, every time it feels like everything is falling apart, don't resist. Don't resist, because it is much necessary. It may feel like death, but through that death energy you are introducing life. That's what the Scorpio energy, that's why it gets very hard to understand Scorpio energy, because it feels like death, but through that death is actually introducing life. Without that death there will be no life. You're going to be much and much more death without that death energy. So Scorpio energy is very hard to manifest. Scorpio energy like on deliberate way. Scorpio energy has is because it's a karmic sign. Most of the time it just knocks on your dead knocks on our door when we don't even want them. So it's not like, oh, I'm gonna be in the Scorpio energy now. Scorpio energy is not something that you can be in or we can be in voluntarily. It's more of universe sent Scorpio energy when we need more life force energy in our being, in our existence. So how we can embody that? Whenever we feel like the death energy is coming, and we all feel that, if you're not too stuffy or you know anal about things, it has come to you. And so when this kind of transformation knock on your door, knock on our door, open it. Don't hesitate, open it. Even though it may feel like very tormenting, everything is falling apart, it is necessary. Because remember, Scorpion energy, we don't voluntarily get in Scorpion energy because it's scary, right? But if you have a lot of Scorpion energy, and if you're in love with Scorpion energy, then you do transformation on your own. You want to do the transformation. That's like almost like addiction. Like, I want to grow, I want to change, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to shed my skin. That's a different when you are so much in tune with the Scorpio energy. But most of the time we are not. And we are not when this kind of energy is coming on our way. We just accept it. We just, because that's the only way we can bring the vitality that we need. Even though we don't feel like whatever we have, we feel like, oh, I have very comfortable life, I have my dishwasher, I have my this and that, I have a very comfortable lifestyle, I have two cars, I have a nice condo, I have all these things. Okay, I need to pay mortgage, I need to pay car insurance, but it's fine, I'm doing two jobs, one job, whatever, it pays nice and everything well, that's okay. But that's like, think about it. When you think about your life and think that everything is comfortable, think about it, how much all these things bringing introducing in life force and versus non-life force. And how do you do that? Like, when you eat that's why you need to do meditation. It's all come to this aligning with your core. You need to do meditation. Am I really vibing with my life force? Am I really doing that thing that I really passionate about, really bring me joy and water and the feeling of nourishment? If it is not, that means, even if it feels comfortable, that means we are cultivating, we are manifesting non-living force. And more we manifesting non-living force, that means we are feeding into the death energy more and more. And when it comes back, comes this death energy and knock on our door, it's going to be much more violent and much more aggressive, because we fade into that. So that's, yeah, that's what Scorpio energy is all about. And okay, the next gonna be Libra, and it's gonna be much chill energy to talk about. But I love Scorpio energy, one of my favorite energy. All the water energy is my favorite, right? Scorpio energy, scorpionic energy, Piscean energy, um and Taurus energy lately. Oh my god, ultimate energy to really embody. Anyway, bye bye, thank you, see you next time.